Do you ever feel like you are trying super hard in your business, but it is not going anywhere? And no matter how many changes you make, it doesn't seem like you're able to move the needle. In today's video, I'm going to talk about 3 huge, giant, monumental mistakes that may be preventing your business from succeeding. And disclaimer, I have my dog Dexter down below, and every time he's in here, he's sleeping, he's snoring, and everybody asks why there's heavy breathing. It's him. He's right here. So if you hear that, I am sorry. If you feel like your business is not moving right now, I highly recommend you take a look at these 3 areas that we are going to talk about today. These are all 3 areas that I personally noticed in my business as I was growing, that when I stopped doing these, when I stopped making these mistakes, my business significantly got better. And so if you feel like you are in the same boat, you might try these 3 things and see how they work for you. This is just my own personal experience, but I was able to go from being a part-time hobbyist reseller to what I have now, which is a 6-figure reselling business. So mistake number 1 that you could be making is you pivot too quickly. Pivoting is basically when you're driving the bus, your business is going well, and then there's something you don't like, so you go, "Arr!" and you crash the vehicle. Whenever we make abrupt changes in our business, we have to give it time to see if that change made a difference in the positive or the negative direction. If you're making some changes in your business right now, let's say you are increasing listings, or maybe you tried out promoted listings, or you're attempting to source at a different area. It could be really anything, but whenever you try to make a change in your business, you have to see it through and you have to give it a significant amount of time before you can actually decide if it is working. If you are making a change and then you're looking at your watch and you're like, okay, it's been 2 days, what is happening? That is not the time to pivot. In my opinion, you need to give it at least a month, if not a full 90 days, which is a whole quarter. A quarter would definitely be better to have a true representation of what that change is doing for your business. I know it sounds a little crazy, like, okay, well, what if I make the wrong decision, but then I do that decision for an entire month or 3 months? My response to that is, at least you will know for sure that that really is not working for you. I would say if you have tried something for about a month's time and you can see like no end in sight, you can really tell it's not working, then yes, absolutely, you want to stop whatever it is you're doing and make a change. But if you're just unsure at this point, really see it all the way through, and before you even make the change, give yourself a timeline of how long you're actually going to give this in order to see appropriate results. You'll want to consider things like, are you moving into a new season? Are there outside influences affecting these outcomes? If your decision is not in a vacuum, then you definitely want to spend a lot more time to really figure out what it's doing in your business. If you make a change on any platform, the way that platforms work, they have search algorithms. And those search algorithms are supposed to bring the right buyer to the right product. Whenever you change up a bunch of stuff on any platform, specifically I'm thinking of eBay, but this is how all platforms work. If you shake things up, it's going to take a moment for eBay or Poshmark or Mercari to recatalog those items to understand what the item is now. So if you make a bunch of changes, it needs a second to kind of settle back into the search algorithm. So give platforms a chance to recatalog and see how it goes. One big example of pivoting too fast that I see a lot of resellers making is that they decide to increase their listings. And then they wonder why the very next week they are not making the same amount of sales in the amount that they increased. I want you guys to think about this for a second. So on my channel, I try to focus on a 100% sell-through rate within 90 days, which means anything that I buy, I want to sell within 3 months. If I purchase something right now with those strict rules for myself, which I know for a lot of you, those are some pretty strict rules, that 100% sell-through rate within 90 days, it is pretty strict and it can be hard to achieve. You got to really dig deep and figure out where these items are in your area. Even with all of that strict research, once I get an item, I still have to wait for that to sell for possibly 3 months And that is with a 100% sell-through rate item within 90 days. If you're picking up something that is less than 100% sell-through rate in 90 days, then chances are it is going to take longer than 3 months, which means whenever you are increasing your listings, let's say today you decide that you are going to increase by 2. If your sell-through rate on those 2 items you're going to be listing every single day is 100% sell-through rate, it's probably going to take roughly 90 days, a whole quarter, 3 months before you start to see that increase of 2 sales per day. A lot of us see that a lot sooner, but again, just want to get you to visualize how long it could actually take. And so if you're not at 100% sell-through rate with the items that you're picking up, it's going to take a lot longer. So when you make those changes, like an increased amount of listing per day, you're going to see that it's going to take a while for those changes to really snowball and catch up with what you're doing. And this is where a lot of resellers stop doing whatever it is they are trying because they think it is not working. But the data does not support that the item will actually sell that quickly. So with anything you do in your business, give it some time and try not to pivot too quickly just because you aren't seeing results yet. Mistake number 2 that you may be making that is keeping your business from succeeding is that you don't do the research yourself. What I mean by this is when you are trying to figure out which items you should source, I see probably most of the reselling community just relying on thrift hauls on YouTube. And while thrift hauls on YouTube can be a great way to learn brands you've maybe never heard about, chances are that what are shown in thrift hauls may not be what's actually selling. Just to give you like a full picture, whenever I put out a thrift haul, sometimes I've got a thrift haul scheduled out multiple weeks in advance. So if we have a season switchover, what you guys are seeing is not actually what is selling right now. It's not what I'm actually picking up today. And unfortunately, most of the people that you're watching on YouTube that do thrift hauls are learning about brands the same way you are from other people in thrift hauls. By the time you play the game of telephone and it goes through several different people to end up on a thrift haul, you're probably way behind schedule as to what brands, what factors, what sizes, what is actually selling. Not to mention, just because somebody picks it up does not mean that it's actually going to sell. I've made a video before about how to do the research yourself. It's called Stop Watching Thrift Hauls. So if you want to go search that video, just type in Kaylee Elaine, Stop Watching Thrift Hauls, and I will do a deep dive and show you exactly how it is that I look up what items are selling and what I should be looking for. There's also something to be said when you actually do the research, because not everyone has an eidetic memory. Not all of us can just look at an item or a tag in somebody's thrift haul on the screen and memorize it. The best way that you are going to remember all of the brands, the factors, the styles, the trending keywords, the best way you're going to actually retain that information is to see it, hear it, write it, type it, whatever you can do to touch all of the senses. And you can do that by doing your own sold comp research. Doing your own research and figuring out what items to sell is the only way to guarantee that you're actually picking up good items. And I think the moment that I realized that in my own business, it changed everything. I no longer rely on other people. I research categories. I research common brands that I come across. I look up the BOLOs, but I also look up the bread and butters that consistently sell and have a high sell-through rate. But you're not going to know those things unless you're doing the research yourself. I would have never have known that I could sell hundreds of Old Navy dresses during spring and summer for $30 to $40 pre-owned. I figured that out because I was doing my own research. Nobody on YouTube was talking about selling Old Navy dresses in their thrift haul. And I realized that it was a niche I could tap into that nobody else cared about or even knew about. That is where you guys are going to get the edge on reselling. While your competitors are going to be really behind because they're just watching thrift hauls, you're going to be looking at what actually sold that day, that week. So do your own research. And I'm not saying completely stop watching thrift hauls, because I actually learn a lot of new brands from watching thrift hauls, but I just don't commit them to memory until I've actually researched them myself. No shade on thrift hauls. Number 3, and the final one, huge mistake that you could be making that is preventing you from being successful in your business. This one is a tough one to swallow, is that you aren't actually working when you think you're working. When I went full-time, I was just working out of my house. And so I would wake up and I would work and then I'd go to bed and I'd wake up and do it all over again. But I never really had a schedule for myself. And I found myself to be extremely inconsistent for someone that was supposed to be now full-time. A moment for me that changed everything was when I challenged myself to list 10 items a day for an entire week because I wasn't getting 10 items up. How many of you are listing 10 items a day? How many of you have the goal of listing 10 items a day, but you're not actually listing 10 items a day? This challenge that I had for myself changed everything for me and really opened my eyes up to the fact that I wasn't actually working when I thought I was. I was in my office, I was typing on my computer, I was handling reselling, but I wasn't actually working and doing things that move the needle. So when I made this challenge for myself, when I said, why in an 8-hour day can't I get 10 listings up? This makes no sense. I challenged myself to time exactly how long it took me to do 10 listings a day. So how long does it take you guys to do 10 listings a day? And how long should it take you to do 10 listings a day? Those are the 2 questions you should ask yourself and figure out the answers to. So this was before, we became uber efficient. But even when I still had, a lot to learn, once I sat down and actually timed myself, I was undistracted because I knew that I was timing myself. It took me slightly over an hour. It was like about an hour to list 10 items. And that was the moment that I realized, oh, it should take me an hour to get 10 listings done. I'm spending a whole 8-hour day and I'm not even getting 10 listings up. Like, what is happening? Where did the time go? Even if it takes you 2 hours to do listings a day, I would question, are you getting those listings up every day? Or are you spending, like I was, 8, 10, 12 hours a day and not even getting listings up? So are you working when you actually think that you're working? Best way to do this is to time yourself, figure out how long each of your tasks takes, then take that amount that you should be working and compare it to what you are actually doing. Again, this can be a really tough pill to swallow, but it is vital for your business to know exactly where your time and your money is going. And this is one thing that you can control and you should. All right, guys, so those were 3 mistakes that you could be making in your business that may be preventing you from succeeding. I hope that you guys will take this information and be able to, sidestep those mistakes. If you've not already found yourself there, don't make the same mistakes that I did that were very costly to me and stalled my business for a really long time. I work with a lot of resellers. I have mentored a lot of resellers. I currently help run a mentorship group called Resellers Edge, and I am dealing with resellers every day. And these 3 concepts are something that I think everybody needs to hear and something everybody is dealing with. Take just these 3 and apply them to your business and see how they make a difference. And if you guys are interested in having somebody help coach you, walk you through these concepts in more detail, and also hold you accountable to them, consider joining Resellers Edge. We are dealing with so many resellers and trying to move the needle forward in each of their individual businesses. And we really like working with whatever your business model is and whatever you have available to you. We can help you to take your business to the next level. Link is down below if you'd like to check that out. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.